Best Books of 2018 as our book talk show for this week gets underway right now with Elena from the Napa Book Mine. Elena, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Excellent, doing fine, and we're ready to hear more about good reading.
Awesome. So the first book I have today is our bookseller Marianne's favorite. It's a collection called American Like Me, Reflections on Life Between Cultures. It's edited by actress Ferrera. So people might recognize her from, I think, Ugly Betty was when I first recognized her. She's also a political activist, and she's always felt wholly American. Her identity has been inextricably linked to her parents who landed under a culture, speaking Spanish at home and having Saturday morning salsa dance parties in the kitchen, eating tamales alongside apple pie at Christmas. None of these things ever seemed at odds with her American identity, but she still yearns to see that identity reflected in the larger American narrative. For this book, she invited 31 of her friends, peers, and heroes to share their stories about life between cultures. We know them as actors, comedians, athletes, politicians, artists, and writers. However, they are also immigrants, children or grandchildren of immigrants, indigenous people, or people who otherwise grew up with deep and personal connections to more than one culture. Each of them struggles to establish a sense of self, find belonging, and feel seen. They all call themselves American enthusiastically, reluctantly, or not at all. It ranges from the heartfelt to the hilarious. Stories really shine a light on a quintessentially American experience that will appeal to anyone with a complicated relationship to family, culture, or to growing up. It includes stories from people like Lin-Manuel Miranda, Jacqueline, Roxanne Gay. So really interesting collection of essays. I think very timely, and
Yeah.
the favorite book of our bookseller Marianne this year.
Yeah, timely is the word I was thinking, too. That's a real 2018 capsulization, you could say.
Absolutely.
All right. Talking best books of the year with Elena from Napa Book Mine, and what's up next?
Next, I have three different novels, very, very different novels. The first one is kind of a funny one. So Alice Isn't Dead by Joseph Fink, and this is our bookseller Olivia's favorite of the year. This is from the best-selling author of It Devours and Welcome to Night Vale. That might sound familiar to some people. Welcome to Night Vale. There's a podcast that has a ton of fans, and then they wrote a post based on that podcast that really opened them up to a wider audience. This one isn't related to the podcast, but if you like Night Vale, you'll love this. I think this is also good probably for fans of Neil Gaiman's American Gods, either the book or the series. This is a fast-paced thriller about a truck driver searching across America for the wife she had long assumed to be dead. Keisha Taylor lived a quiet life with her wife Alice until the day that Alice disappeared. After months of searching, presuming she was dead, Keisha held a funeral, mourned, and gradually tried to get on with her life. That was before she started to see her wife again and again in the background of news reports from all over America. It appears that Alice isn't dead. She's showing up at every major tragedy and accident in the country. Following a line of clues, Keisha takes a job with a trucking company and begins searching for Alice. She eventually stumbles on an otherworldly conflict being waged in the quiet corners of our nation's highway system, uncovering a conspiracy that goes way beyond just one missing woman. Why did Alice disappear? What does she have to do with this secret war? Why did the chicken cross the road? These questions and many more will be answered in Alice Isn't Dead. It's a great novel for people with a good sense of humor and probably a dark sense of
Yeah.
humor.
Certainly sounds like an interesting one indeed. Alice Isn't Dead. Okay, what's next?
Up next is a short story collection by famous Australian author Gerald Murnane. He's not been published much in this hemisphere, really, and definitely his short stories have never been published here. So this is kind of a cool literary event. This collection is called Stream System, and it's the favorite of Justin, who is our newest bookseller. Murnane is this mind-bending genre-bending master. Teju Cole calls him a genius on the level of Beckett. Again, we've never had these stories available in this hemisphere, certainly not in this country, but they were originally published between 1985 to 2012. And it's a really cool compendium of the work of one of contemporary fiction's greatest magicians. His reputation rests largely on his longer works of fiction, so his short stories are much lesser known, but they're brilliant and idiosyncratic. Brutal, comic, obscene, crystalline, these are all words that people have used to describe this collection. They have stories like The Haunting Land Deal, which imagines the colonization of Australia, and the ultimate vengeance of its indigenous people is a series of nested dreams. There's Fingerweb, which tells a quietly terrifying fractal tale of the scars of war and the roots of misogyny. And The Interior of Galdine, which finds its anxious protagonist stranded beyond the limits of fiction itself. No one quite writes like Murnane, so if you're looking for something a little bit different, if you're looking for something maybe like Lucia Berlin or Bolano, this collection stream system might be a good get for you.
Okay. And we're moving on. I like the way each of your booksellers has their pick represented here in the show. This is very balanced.
We're going for egalitarian.
Yeah, egalitarian. Good. What's next?
What's next is Paul's favorite. This is actually a series, the last of which came out this year. The first one is called Outline. The author is Rachel Cusk. It's become really a sensation and a national bestseller, and Paul really loved it because he says there's nobody who writes fiction quite like she does. It's a totally new take on the genre, which, as booksellers, we read a lot, so originality is something that we prize very highly, so it's high praise. This is a novel told in conversation. The bulk of it is a man and a woman who are seated next to each other on a plane. They get to talking about their destination, their careers, their families, grievances or errors, family tragedies discussed, marriages and divorces analyzed, and then intimacy is established between these two strangers as they share their own fictions about their lives. It's also about a novelist who's teaching a course in creative writing over an oppressively hot summer in Athens. And she leads her students in storytelling exercises. She meets other writers for dinner, goes swimming in the sea, and as the people she encounters speak volubly about themselves, their fantasies, anxieties, pet theories, regrets, and longings, a portrait of the narrator is drawn by contrast, a portrait of a woman learning to face a great loss. So that outline refers to the fact that, if I remember Paul describing it correctly, you don't actually hear anything from the author, the narrator herself. You just become aware of who she is by the outline she creates against other people. So a really interesting novel, and a series of 3. If anybody really gets into that first one like Paul did, there are 2 more.
Okay, that's intriguing. It's amazing that so many there are so many books, and yet people constantly come up with new ways to tell stories.
It's truly incredible. It really is.
Worth getting out of bed in the morning. All right. And on to cooking and wine. Here's a favorite from the year.
Yes, so our bookseller, Kelsey, is also a baker. She went to the CIA for a bit. She's kind of really awesome at it. And this is her favorite baking book of the year, so that makes me sit up and take notice. It's called Nourish Cakes by Marianne Stewart. It contains 50 simple recipes for cakes and bakes, both large and small, focusing on nourishing ingredients such as nuts, vegetables, and dried fruit, plus flours such as rye or buckwheat. Many of the recipes are allergy or intolerance friendly, using wheat-free flours and unrefined sugars. And each recipe is clearly coded to show you which diet it will suit, along with an index to show you vegan, wheat-free, and dairy-free cakes at a glance. So the emphasis is on including exciting new ingredients rather than cutting things out. It shows you how you can get the same amazing taste and textures with healthy alternatives. With all the recipes checked by a qualified dietitian, the cakes in the book show you how you can embrace a more positive, balanced, and inclusive approach in your baking. All the ingredients can be sourced from supermarkets or larger health food shops. and it presents an alternative way of baking to a mainstream audience and makes it appealing, delicious, and exquisitely beautiful. And I know that Kelsey wouldn't suggest it if it didn't make really good cake.
Because she's the real deal. She's doing the work. All right. And from our cooking and wine category to our something for kids category, wrap things up for us.
Now we have Naomi's other favorite middle grade novel. I think I spoke about The Adventures of a Girl Called Bicycle last week. So this week is Harbor Me by Jacqueline Woodson. Jacqueline Woodson is incredible. She's the national ambassador for young people's literature. Pretty much everything she writes is gold. I can talk on and on about her stuff. This is definitely a really timely novel, and it's also unique in that it's dealing with some really serious issues that are going on now, but at an appropriate level for a middle grade audience. So this is about basically immigration. It starts when 6 kids have to meet for a weekly chat by themselves, with no adults listening in at school. They dub the room the art room, short for a room to talk, and they discover that it's safe to really talk about what's bothering them. Everything from Esteban's father's deportation and Haley's father's incarceration to Amari's fears of racial profiling and Ashton's adjustment to his changing family fortunes. When the 6 are together, they can express the feelings and fears they have to hide from the rest of the world. Together, they can grow braver and more ready to the rest of their lives. Naomi says this is definitely appropriate for the suggested age range of 8 to 12. If anybody's looking, or if you have a kid who's starting to ask, about the dialogue that's happening right now in our country about immigration and incarceration and all of that, this is a really good age-appropriate starting point from the master Jacqueline Woodson. Harbor Me is the title.
Very good. This and all the books you've heard about today and all the books you've heard about all year long on the show can be found at Napa Book Mine on Pearl Street and over at the Oxbow Market. Elena Trucker, thanks for doing all this great work for us. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
All right, and happy holiday.
You too.
Okay. It's now 8:22. Break time. Let's see what's up when we come back after some important messages. Who knows? We'll check up on the markets. That's been a nonstop entertainment. Our eyes are glued to the screen. We'll get into that and other stories, including, there's still a little more politics to cover today. I can't quite slip into holiday mode quite yet. Still got some work to do. Stay tuned.